space! Hello boys and girls, welcome back to Elite Dangerous. Today we're going to carry on from where we left off in episode 1, which was, we're about 800 light years away from inhabited space. We're on our way back from a successful exploration journey out to the California Nebula, and a little bit of a detour around that local area too. Right now we're just stopped outside of this beautiful water planet where we left off in episode 1. We've still got a long way to go on our journey back to inhabited space. Let's crack open the galaxy map. We've got 71 jumps still to make, so you can see here we are in Cinefy. I think that's how you say that anyway. Here we are in Cinefy. Our next jump is to the YPV D324 system. But we've got a long way to go. We're not going to Sol, we're going to Ayabico, which is where my ships are docked. So if I just click there now, it should go whoosh. Just take us straight through there. So this is inhabited space. We have all that way to go. So yeah, our end goal is to get back to inhabited space and sell all this exploration data that we've collected so far. We're going to collect some more exploration data along the way too, but really our main task now is to get back to inhabited space. Over to my left you can see the California Nebula on the far left, and Bernard's Loop sat next to it. That's where we've just come from, in between those two nebulae. So really now it's about getting back to inhabited space and seeing what we can find along the way, seeing what we can do to boost our exploration profits. So let's make our first jump. Now, I've been fiddling around with audio and things like that because I'm more than aware that the first episode the audio wasn't too great. So I've learned my lesson. I'm recording the voice audio and the game audio separately now. I've also turned down some of the game music elements as well, so that should help you hear my voice a little bit better. Right, so we're about to make a first jump. We've got 70 more jumps to go after this one, so let's jump into the next system and see what we find. We will make sure that we throttle down before we land into this new system, because we know what can happen if we don't do that. We can get sucked into one of these bad boys, one of these big stars, so yeah, we definitely don't want that to happen. Right, let's see what we've got. We're going to scan this star and we're going to fire off our D-scanner at the same time to see what else is in the system. Just 2 more astronomical objects and they both look like stars. Let's have a look. It's an F-type star, this one, so it is scoopable, remember. Our acronym for defining whether or not a star will be scoopable. It's KGB foam that the KGB use. Wow. Okay, so we've got 3 stars in the system. We've got a... we've got the F-type star that we're looking at now, which was first discovered by Morrow. We've got an unexplored F-type star, and we've got a G-type star that's unexplored too. How far away are these stars? Let's have a look to see if they're worth taking a short jaunt out to. That one's 26,000 light seconds away. And that one's 4,000, so let's definitely check out the 4,000 one and see if we can put our name, our stamp onto this star here. We're already scanning it because it's such a massive object, you know. The distance at which you can pick up and start to scan an object with your ship scanner is dependent on how big that object is. So it depends on its radius relative to your distance away from it. So the wider, the bigger, the fatter the object in space that you're trying to scan, the greater the distance you'll be able to scan it from. So there we are, we're done. I'm not going to take a 26,000 light second jaunt out to that 3rd star. The return on investment on that time spent is not great, so let's just jump into our next system and see if we can find something interesting. So I'm going to make a little bit of a shorter episode this time. I'm still going to make it unedited. I'm still going to make it so that you see absolutely everything. That may mean that we've got a little bit of a downtime where we've got systems like this, where it's just stars. There's not that much interesting going on. But I figure I can talk. I can talk with the best of them. So I figure I can explain some of these concepts whilst we go through those boring systems. And, space is mostly uninteresting. Most of it's just stars and nothingness and gas clouds and rubbish. But every now and again we're going to find some gold, like those water worlds that we discovered in the first one. I am still yet to... throttle down, don't forget, never forget. I am still yet to find an Earth-like world on my journey, so that is something that I'm still looking forward to. scan this star down and honk our directional scanner. Discovery scanner and 2. I've been playing Metal Gear Solid at the moment, so everything's Metal Gear Solid related. Right, we have lots of stuff here, look, and there's something 125 light seconds out. That looks like another star, so let's crack open the system map and see what we've got. Wow. Okay, this is interesting. We've got and it looks like this system's undiscovered. That is fantastic news. We've got a Class M type star, so again, these Class M type stars are stars that are very likely to have, well, they have the best conditions, the best possible conditions for life-bearing planets. Now, there's also this lovely purple Ribena-looking planet, this gas giant thing over here, definitely a gas giant. There's a couple of other potential interesting worlds. This one could be a metal-rich. This one could be a metal-rich too. These look generally quite uninteresting though. Again, some of them have atmospheres and things like that. So let's check out these first 2 planets. We'll definitely check out this gas giant on the end too. The ones around this star don't look very interesting, so we'll see about scanning the star, see how far away it is first. But definitely these first 2 planets and then this gas giant. Let's go check out and see what we can find. So our first destination is 361 light seconds away. It's not very far at all in the grand scheme of things.
Fuel scooping.
Going to pick up some fuel as we fly past the star, but I'm really not worried about our fuel situation right now. So I'm not going to spend loads of time scooping up all the fuel and filling up my tank here. So let's go onwards and upwards. Now, if you remember in the first episodes, and I forgive you if you didn't watch the whole thing. That was crazy long. It took a crazy long time to edit too. So episodes in the future will be a little bit shorter. But yeah, no. If you remember from the first episode, we can actually use the system map to give us a little bit of a clue as to what we're flying towards and what sort of planet it will be. You can listen to the planets after you click on them and zoom in on them on the system map, and I'll show you a bit more of how we do that in a second. But yeah, you can listen out for key noises and little bits and bobs that will indicate what type of planet it is that you're looking, or what type of stellar body it is that you're looking at. You know, if you hear things like whales or radio communications or human noises, it's likely to be an Earth-like planet. If you hear metal tones like the scraping or the singing of metal, it's likely to be a metal-rich planet. If you hear bubbling, it's going to be a water world, that sort of stuff. So yeah, here we are. Here's our metal-rich planet. So that was fairly simple. I'm not going to get close to this one because it's probably not going to be that interesting. Let's go to our second planet. I'm always going to use the the system map to find my next planet as well, because if I use the navigation computer, then it's going to find the next nearest star to me, where I am in space right now, which might not always be the one that I want to go to, because for all I know, that planet could have been on the other side of the sun. So yes, let's move over to this now. I think this one's going to be another metal-rich planet. But you know, they're okay. They turn in a decent amount of cash. Just take a sip of my space tea. So yeah, they bring in a decent amount of cash, but at the end of the day, they're not quite as interesting as a water world or something that's bearing life. Let's slow down because we don't need to get too close. Now, of course, when you're exploring, one thing that you don't want to do, unless you're really keen on, you know, getting really up close to the planet and checking it out, because it might be a water world. Yep, high metal content planet sorted. But you don't want to get too close to the planets, and the reason being is because it will take you ages and ages and ages to accelerate out of that planet's gravity well if you get too close. Which just kind of means that you're spending more time in space, more time looking at this empty blackness, which isn't all that interesting. So it's better to keep a little bit of a distance now. This one's 7,000 light seconds away. We're going to have to get, I reckon, within 1,000 light seconds to be able to scan it down. But this thing's purple. I kind of want to check this out and have a close look at this purple gas giant. So we'll get up close to this one and we'll see what's what. Now, with gas giants, the sort of the gold mine, if you like, is ammonia. gas giants with ammonia-based life. They are very interesting, and they're also worth a pretty penny too. So, with a bit of finger crossing and maybe some toe crossing too, we'll discover some life in this planet. Yeah, I've still got some bounties to pick up when I get back to inhabited space. I'm also doing power play. I'm aligned to Zachary Hudson, but I really don't get power play. I'm really struggling to understand the concept of it. So it doesn't seem that useful to me as an explorer either. I mean, there is one of the powers who will give you, I think it's a 200% bonus on unexplored system data. So if you discover a new spanking new system that nobody else has found yet, and you scan it down, then you're going to get a 200% bonus on your expert. Oh, it might be a 50%. Anyway, there is a bonus that this power play group will give you, but it is a long grind, and I just didn't have the time, and I kind of just wanted to get out into space, so I just got on with it. And to be honest, you know, exploration, it's definitely about the money for me, but I'm also in it for the pretty sights too, for the pretty space sights. See, we can see the galactic core stretching out along the horizon. Well, I suppose you can't really call it a horizon. Along the, I don't know what you'd call that. I guess the galactic plane or something technical like that. But yeah, that bright white stripe is a greater density of stars that you're looking at as you're looking into the core of the galaxy. Now, I've never been to the centre of the galaxy, so that is another adventure that I'd love to do. But the thing is with going to the centre of the galaxy is that most of it, well, a lot of it, I'd say, has been charted already. So, you know, whilst there are a hell of a lot of interesting things in the centre of the galaxy, like Sagittarius A, the huge black hole that lies at the centre of the galaxy, the Great Annihilator, the twin black holes that lie close to the centre of the galaxy too, and big stars and neutron stars and things like that are all very interesting. I don't know if it's worth the time. It's a long way to the galactic core too. I think it's about 20,000 light years. So, you know, it's and a lot of that's going to be explored by players who have all made that pilgrimage to the centre of the galaxy. So it might be something I'd do one day, but for me, I'm much more interested in deep space, in the things that are outside of the galaxy rather than the stuff that's on the inside. But it does kind of mean as well that it's taking me a little bit longer. That, you know, the density of stars. So yeah. The density of stars at the inside of the galaxy is much, much, much greater than it is on the outside of the galaxy. Right, so we have got close to this gas giant. We know that it is a class 1 gas giant. As soon as I'm safe, as soon as I can slow down and know that I'm not going to slam into the planet, I'll open the system map and we'll see what we found out by scanning this gas giant down, this purple beast. It looks very ominous as it approaches us, so let's get a little bit closer. I love the dark purple, look at that. Right, let's get close. What I always love about these gas giants as well is that they typically have weather bands, and you can see that this one has a weather band going across the middle. It's like an area of I guess different weather activity, if you can call it that. I'm no astronomer or anything like that, so I don't know the technical term. But you can see they just look pretty. They just look really pretty. I mean, look at that. Look at it. And those storms that are going across the centre as well in that band, you know, those will be big cyclones like we get on I guess it's Jupiter. I think Jupiter's the one that's got the big permanent storm in our solar system. So yeah, I love it. Look at it. It's beautiful. Can you imagine seeing that? Amazing. Let's get into deep up camera and see if we can get some nice pretty shots. I like my pretty shots. Your ship is vulnerable. Yes, I know. I've very, very nearly flown into a star whilst I've been doing this several times. So yeah, this is my Cobra. I love my Cobra. It's not the best It's not the best exploration ship, but it does the job. The key thing about the Cobra is that it's very, very good at managing heat. So when I accidentally forget to throttle to 0 when I'm approaching a star, it saved me several times in terms of, you know, not burning up in the star. And it's really, really beneficial heat management when you are scooping for fuel. Because obviously, the closer that you can get to the star whilst you're scooping, without burning up, more fuel you can collect as you go. Right. I don't think there's going to be anything else worth checking out in this system, so let's just have a quick check of the map. I've done that one. I think I'm the first to explore all of this. That lot, it looks like icy, rocky rubbish, so I'm not going to bother. Let's just move on to our next system, which is Certify ZXDB182. There's the hyperdrive. Vector towards our destination. It's that star over in the distance there. You can see a nebula just off to our top right. Tiny little one. Or it could be massive and just be really in the distance.
2, 1, engage.
Boom. One of the things that happened at the end of the last episode, and again, I totally forgive you for not watching it, don't worry, but one of the things that happened at the end of the last episode was that I discovered some art, some rare art about 800 light years away from inhabited space, and it really wigged me out. I wish I had a bit of cargo hold, but I totally removed my cargo hold and turned my cargo hatch off because I didn't expect to find anything, you know, grabbable out this far in space, and I really, really regret that now. So, kind of lesson learned is if I have, you know, just 2 cargo space in my exploration ship in the future, then any weird and wonderful fighter finds like that I can pick up. But that was really weird and really creeped me out. So yeah, this system then, we've got something orbiting this star, and we've got another star about 25,000 light seconds out too. Oh, interesting, we've got a gas giant, another deep purple gas giant, look, orbiting this class M star, and then we've got a class T dwarf, a brown dwarf, out this way too, and a load of boring rocky planets by the look of it. We've also got asteroids, asteroid belts. They are boring as sin. They would only ever really be useful to a miner, and no miner is going to travel 800 light years out of inhabited space in order to, you know, get some ores when there's stuff much closer to inhabited space. So let's fly over to this gas giant, grab a little bit of fuel on the way. But yeah, no, that rare art just floating in space 800 light years away from anywhere inhabited. I mean, firstly, how the hell would that even get there, you know? It's not like, I guess somebody must have dropped it or something, but totally bizarre. I mean, the thing is, canisters in space decay. So, you know, if you drop a canister in space and leave it, it's on a time limit. It's gonna explode after a certain amount of time. So the only explanation I can think of is that I came very close to somebody who was in space, and they had either been blown up or something like that, and they dropped it, or they'd had to jettison it. But you know, it's just totally bizarre, totally creeped me out. Yeah, very strange. That is a very bright pink star. Oh no, it's the Class T brown dwarf. That's why it's catching my eye. It's in this solar system. So let's fly out to this purple gas giant and see what it's all about. Hopefully we can find some life. Getting there with the Explorer rank, we're just hit 40%. Your Explorer rank, you know, it's pretty simple. If you are going to go and do exploring, your exploring rank will go up as you hand in more exploration data. Me myself, for what it's worth, I'm aligned to the Federation. It's nothing that I'm particularly, you know, invested in. It's just I happen to be in Federation space doing missions for the Federation when I started to think about these things. So, right, drawing in on this purple gas giant. Come on, life. Anarchy, Class 1 gas giant. Of course, it's Anarchy. There's nobody here. Right, so we've got another Class 1 gas giant. Let's see what we know about it. Class 1 or Jovian gas giants have primarily hydrogen and helium atmospheres. Coloration comes from the clouds in the upper atmosphere of ammonia, water vapor, hydrogen sulfide, phosphine and sulfur. The temperature at the top of their upper cloud layers is typically less than 150 Kelvin. So this thing is 18.5 times the mass of Earth. That's pretty huge. Nothing really. Rotational period of 1 day, so it's pretty much rotates as quickly as Earth. Not that interesting though in the great scheme of things, so you know, bit of a boring find, but it'll get us some exploration data anyway. Let's move on to our next system. There is nothing else interesting here. Right.
Friendship drive charging.
Really does sound like she says friendship drive. Must remember when we start to check out my modules, see how they're all doing. It's really important. You, especially when you're out, you know, all this way away from space, and there's nobody who can help you except the fuel rats, who I'll come on to in a little minute. But when there's nobody out here who can help you, to keep an eye on your modules, because you know at the end of the day, and I am just going to park myself in this sun, just grab a little bit of fuel because we're on half a tank, and that's not too desperate. We've got plenty of jumps left in us, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. And that's the moral of the story, really. When you're out exploring and you're all this way from inhabited space, play it safe. Really, honestly, play it safe. Let's just have a quick check of our modules as well then, because these, you know, these get damaged by heat, and you know the last thing you want is for these to cack out when you're all the way away from anywhere that can repair you. I'm lucky enough to have an auto field maintenance unit on board, so what I could do is I could sacrifice these 3,170 units to repair some of my other modules if they get damaged. If, for example, I accidentally fly into a star, which has happened, Right, let's just have a quick look at what's going on in this system. So, we've got this Class M star, which has been discovered. We've got this undiscovered Class M star. We've got a Class L dwarf. We've got this weird little gas giant out here. Let's see how far away everything is before we rush off and try to scan all this down. Yeah, 18,000 light seconds. You know what? I'm very tempted. We're just going to wait here and grab some fuel. Get a little bit farther in, try and avoid that solar flare. There we go, my ship's flashing now, so it's getting too hot. Don't worry about that. That's fine. It's cool. What I really love when you're near to a star, or when you're gathering fuel, is these. I can't tell whether what they are is the actual fuel scoop, or whether these are heat radiators. But whatever they are, they look bloody cool. I do love my ship. I love that tiny little back door on the ship. It just looks totally out of place. But I guess we've got to have a way of getting in and out, haven't we? Oh, she's a pretty thing. I still need to name it. I still need to name my Cobra. Anyway, our fuel scooping is complete. Let's get out of this star before things get a little bit too heated. And let's make our way over to
fuel scoop disengaged.
These bad boys. So, 18,000 light seconds to go. Got a little bit of steam rising off of my dashboard there. It got a little bit hot. You're only really in danger if your heat goes over 100%. Other than that, you know, you're pretty safe. I don't think you take any damage at all for staying under 100%. So yeah, as I was saying, you know, you can sacrifice this auto field maintenance ammo for to repair your modules. The one thing that you cannot repair is your power plant. And the reason you can't repair your power plant is in order to repair something, you have to take it offline. And of course, if you take your power plant offline, you're going to have a bad time. Life support's not going to work, and your head's probably going to explode or something. Something really horrible like that. So, you know, taking your power plant offline, not a good idea. So we're speeding up on our way to this this secondary and tertiary star. Looks like the tertiary star is orbiting the secondary star, from what I can tell. we're getting up to 35C. I don't know what the C stands for, actually. Who knows? Right. I'm sure one of you out there knows. What we'll do is we'll go check out this and then jump into the next system, see what we'll find, and we'll call it a day for this episode. Okay. Feels like Bernard's Loop's getting bigger, and really I should be getting farther away from it. Weird. It looks like there's either nebula in front of Bernard's Nebula or inside it. You see like the little extra. There's one to the top right, and one sort of in the middle too. Cool. The way that perspectives work in space. You got another nebula there, and a big blue nebula there. They're all over the place. But these are you know, massive structures in space that span across, you know, tens or 20 or hundreds of stars depending on the size of the nebula. And you know, nebula are, I believe they're star factories. I think that's how it works. Again, I'm not an astronomer. They're usually like the aftermath of some cataclysmic stellar event, like a supernova or something like that, where bits of gas have just been spread out over a large area. But I believe that, you know, inside those nebula, new stars form too. So I think they're a bit of a gold mine for neutron stars. But I haven't found a neutron star yet. Most of the big neutron star fields are towards the galactic core, and I haven't been out there yet. But I am told that there are things like neutron stars and white dwarfs and whatnot further out into the galactic deep space. Wondering when I'm going to start to be able to scan down this star. It's getting pretty big. It looks bright. It's orange, almost pink. 5,000 light seconds out now. I always wish you could like play little games on that monitor or something. That's cool. It actually appears to be. I wonder if I got this wrong. I think that's actually the gas giant over there, and the two stars are in really close proximity. Yeah, it looks like that's two stars rather than one. We'll soon find out. Well, we definitely don't want to get stuck in the middle of those two stars, and that can happen when you drop into a system where you've got binary stars like this, where they're both really close. You can actually end up in the middle of the two, and that's bad. That's really bad, because you've then got the gravitational impact of two stars, as well as the fact that they're both chucking out stupid amounts of heat, and you know, you kind of look at the star that you've dropped into, and then you think, oh no, my heat's getting too high, I need to burn away. And then you end up burning into the other star. It's not happened to me yet. I've read some horror stories on Reddit. Reddit's a great place to be, by the way, if you are a Elite Dangerous explorer. Lots of stories, lots of sites to see, lots of people with screenshots out there and videos like mine. So, yeah, do go check out r/Elite Explorers. Right, this looks interesting. Some interesting orbital mechanics going off here. So let's get a little bit closer and see what's going on, and then we'll vector up towards that gas giant, check that out, and move on to the next system. Should speed up a little bit, really. Wow, pretty. So you've got this inner star that's kind of on its own orbit, and then you've got this I guess it's a brown dwarf alongside of it. I can't target. There we go. No, I can target it. It must be quite small. Ah, this is beautiful. I love things like this. Look how bright that star on the right is compared to this brown dwarf. It's massive. Yep, so it's a Class L brown dwarf. That's all we really want to know. I mean, that star's huge. I don't want to get too close because it'll take me ages to accelerate out to this gas giant. But let's go check this out, and then we'll move on to the next system, scan that one down. But I started telling you about the fuel rats. Now, the fuel rats are an elite dangerous group, and they are the most selfless gamers I've ever heard of, right? What the fuel rats do is they act as a search and rescue operation for pilots, commanders who have ran out of fuel in deep space. So the idea is that they sit on a chat room on the internet, and if you run out of fuel and you are too far away to get help, you can send out, it's like calling 999 or 911 or the emergency services, whatever the number is where you are, and they will dispatch one of their members to come and find you in space, rendezvous with you, and give you fuel and send you on your way. They do it totally selflessly. They don't ask for any reward. It's an amazing thing, and there's all these great, fantastic stories of them traveling, tens of thousands of light years across space to rescue commanders who are, minutes away from running out of life support. Because if you run out of fuel to power your ship, your life support's on a time limit, and you're going to die if you don't get fuel to power up your ship again pretty quickly. So these guys are awesome. I kind of want to put myself in a situation where I run out of fuel just so I can call them and have that awesome story. But no, it's kind of like making a false call to the fire service or the ambulance service or the police or something like that. It's a bit of a dick thing to do. You might end up costing some commander their life. Another deep purple gas giant. We are finding them all today. It's like finding a bounty of purple Smarties or something like that. This one looks pretty solid in terms of colour. Pretty. It's like a pool ball. Yep, but nothing all that interesting. We've seen all that before, so let's move on to the next system. Right. BC0C96 is our next target. Let's align with that target.
Drive charging.
Fire up the frame shift drive.
Four, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Okay, here we go. Let's scan the star and scan the system. There we go. That's the system scanner going on. 9 new astronomical objects. Let's see what we found. Oh gosh, right, okay. This one's already been discovered, which is a bit of a pain, Broccone, because there is this distinctly Earth-like looking planet just here. That looks very, very interesting. The rest of this stuff all looks a bit boring. Although... no, that looks like a ice world to me. Yeah, let's definitely check this out. It's definitely got an atmosphere because we can see clouds. It's definitely got water. I'm not sure whether or not it will be an Earth-like. Right, I tell you what. We're going to see if we can identify or at least have a guess at what this planet is just by listening to it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it, and you've got to listen carefully. Turn your volume up if you can. Actually, let me turn up the game music just a little bit so you've got a better chance of hearing this. Right, okay, let's turn that right up. Apply. Sorry if this gets a little bit unexpectedly loud, but you can hear all kinds of things cracking off. Now, right, what we want to do is, in order to try and listen to this planet, is we want to zoom into one that we don't care about. We're just going to wait a few seconds for this planet's, sound effects to play off. Can you hear that? Wow. That's telling me it's a metal-rich planet, okay? Sort of like a rock guitar strum. Sounds very heavy metal music sort of thing. Right, but this is the one that we're interested in, so we're going to click it, listen carefully. what we're listening out for is sort of things that you would normally associate with a human world. So, you know, in particular, things that come up are whale noises or radio communications or people talking or kids laughing, that sort of stuff. If it's a water world, what we'll hear instead is bubbling. We may also hear some wind gushing, and what that's telling us is that this planet has an atmosphere. So let's click it and listen very carefully. So there's definitely the sound of water bubbling. Definitely the sound of water bubbling, but nothing telling me that there might be life on that planet. It could be water-based life, but what I think that we're about to find here is a water world. So let's target it, and let's head over there.
Fuel scooping.
Gosh, that got loud. Right, let me turn that down in just a second.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Damn it! Be quiet. Okay. So, fingers crossed that we're about to find a water world with water-based life. That would be amazing. If not, a water world will do. Unfortunately, it's already been discovered, so I'm not going to get a little bit of a bonus for discovering this first. And we're going to find that more and more as we get closer, as we journey back to inhabited space, because it's going to be much more likely that commanders have been this way and discovered the things that are already here. So, let's see. I keep seeing this golden star. You see that in the bottom right? I keep catching that. I keep seeing it. I wonder what it is. Right, we're getting close. Just a water world, no water-based life. That's a little bit of a shame, but a water world is well worth the journey. Plenty of money in water worlds. Oh wow, it's a pretty one. It's bright blue. Not like that last one we found. The one that we found at the start of this was kind of dull. It was kind of grey more than blue, but this one's very pretty. Let's have a look. Gosh. Man, take me to space. I want to be a space explorer. I want to find things like this. Look at it. It's gorgeous. Look at all those clouds and ice caps and shit. It's brilliant. Right? Ah. Beautiful. Okay, well, this is as good a time as any for us to call it a day on this episode. So, not a particularly interesting jaunt through space on this occasion, but, you know, we found some interesting things. We found an interesting binary star arrangement. We saw a water world, a new water world that we're over right now. But yeah, no, pretty cool. We're going to call it a day here, guys. Thank you so much. I really, really hope that the audio was a little bit better this time. I apologise for the first episode. That was a little bit of me kind of learning how all this stuff works. But thank you so much for joining me once again. We will pick up in a new episode very, very soon. So do join me for that as we make our way back to inhabited space to sell all this interesting exploration data, get a bigger, better exploration ship, and hopefully then go and join one of the great expeditions that are going off across the galaxy in order to map all the stars in the Milky Way. So once again, thank you very much for joining me on this journey. If you'd like to hit that subscribe button, it would make me extremely, extremely happy. I've already had a few subscribers since uploading my video, and that's made me jump for joy every single time. So thank you to those of you who have already hit that subscribe button. But for now, thank you very much for joining me, guys, and I will see you in the next star system. Goodbye.